Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Today we're reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 11, the universal form, page number 527. Mate vyatā macha vimūḍha-bhāvo. Mate vyatā macha vimūḍha-bhāvo. dṛṣṭvā rūpaṁ ghoram īdṛṅ mamedam. dṛṣṭvā rūpaṁ ghoram idaṁ mamedam. vyapeta-bhīḥ prīta-manāḥ punas tvaṁ. vyapeta-bhīḥ prīta-manāḥ punas tvaṁ. Tadeva me rūpam idaṁ prapaśya. Tadeva me rūpam idaṁ prapaśya. Nate vyatā macha vimūḍha-bhāvo. dṛṣṭvā rūpaṁ ghoram īdṛṅ mamedam. vyapeta-bhīḥ prīta-manāḥ punas tvaṁ. Tadeva me rūpam idaṁ prapaśya. Word for word. Ma, let it be. Te, unto you. Vyatā, trouble. Ma, let it be. Let it not be. Cha, also. Vimūḍha-bhāvo, bewilderment. dṛṣṭvā, by seeing. Rūpam, form. Ghoram, horrible. Idrīk, as it is. Mama, my. Idaṁ, this. Vyapeta-bhīḥ, free from all fear. prīta-manāḥ, pleased in mind. Punas, again. Tvaṁ, you. Tat, that. Eva, thus. Me, my. Rūpam, idaṁ, this. Idaṁ, this. Prapaśya, just see. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. You have been perturbed and bewildered by seeing this horrible teacher of mine. Now let it be finished. My devotee, be free again from all disturbances. With a peaceful mind, you can now see the form you desire. Purport. In the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna was worried about killing Bhishma and Drona, his worshipful grandfather and master. But Krishna said they need not be afraid of killing his grandfather when the sons of Dhritarashtra tried to disrobe Draupadi, in the assembly of the Kurus, Bhishma and Drona were silent, and for such negligence of duty they should be killed. Krishna showed his universal form to Arjuna, thus to show him that these people were already killed for their unlawful act. That scene was shown to Arjuna because devotees are always peaceful and they cannot perform such horrible action. The purpose of the revelation of the universal form was shown. Now Arjuna wanted to see the forearm form, and Krishna showed him. A devotee is not much interested in the universal form, for it does not enable one to reciprocate loving feelings. Either a devotee wants to offer his respectful worshipful feelings, or he wants to see the two-handed Krishna form so they can reciprocate a loving service with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Om Argena Tivam Dasya Jana Jana Sakaya Sakshu Nitam Jena Tasmei Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sabitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadam Tivimam Nanti Sabhadantikam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivastava Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Translation once again. You've been perturbed and bewildered by seeing this horrible feature of mine. Now let it be finished. My devotee, be free again from all disturbances. With a peaceful mind, you can now see the form you desire. So this is the 11th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Universal Form. So in verses 47 to 55, Krishna again will show Arjuna his two-armed form. Which can only be seen by a pure devotee. Bhaktimam avajananti. Only by pure devotional service can Krishna be seen or known. So here is describing that the Drona, Bhishma, although they were devotees of Krishna, grandfather Bhishma, Dronacharya was his guru, Arjuna's guru in military arts, but somehow they decided to take the side of the gurus because they were maintaining them. So the Pandavas were innocent from childhood. They showed all good qualities, born from demigods, and being very heroic Maharatis, but somehow Duryodhana and company was always envious of the Pandavas, to such an extent that he wanted to kill them. Even in their childhood, they gave Bhima a cake made with poison. And when he ate the cake, he fell unconscious. And the other brothers went back to they were in the forest. And somehow Bhima fell into the one river, and the other brothers went back to the city. So they didn't know what happened to Bhima. He fell in a river. After eating the cake, he became unconscious, and some fish came and bit his body, which counteracted the poison. And then some living beings in the water gave him some elixir which rejuvenated his body. And after 3 days he came out of the water and went back to his city. So at that point, Duryodhana was failed to kill Bhima. But throughout their lives, the Pandavas were always being harassed by Dronacharya, by Duryodhana and company. And Dhritarashtra was blind from birth, but he's also spiritually blind. And because he was affectionate to his son, even though he knew he was doing the wrong and unlawful things, he still never protested. So the Pandavas were put in a house of lac, which they made this house, which as soon as you lit it on fire, the whole house would burn down. So the Pandavas were staying in this house, and Vidura sent them a message warning them that the house was made of lac and it would catch on fire at any time. So the Pandavas, they dug a tunnel underneath the house. So when the house caught on fire, they escaped through this tunnel. But one Sudra lady was in the house without their knowledge, and she was intoxicated, and she had five children, or five sons. So when the house of lac burned, the Pandavas escaped, but they found the bones of these 6 bodies. So they thought the Pandavas were dead, but it wasn't so. Then when the Pandavas were in the forest, they were exiled to the forest for 12 years. And Draupadi was given a special plate. I think we should close the door. Some noise. Draupadi was given a plate which she could feed any amount of people that she wanted to, as long as she didn't take prasadam herself. So Duryodhana knew this, so he sent Durvasa Muni and his 10,000 followers or soldiers to go to the Pandavas after Draupadi had eaten or taken her meal. So the Pandavas didn't know what to do, so they summoned Lord Krishna. They told Durvasa Muni, you go to the river, I think it was Yamuna, take your bath and come back, and then we'll have prasadam for you. Because everybody knows Durvasa Muni is easily pleased and easily angered. So if he came back and didn't get any prasadam, he would be angry and curse the Pandavas. So at that time, Krishna came there and he told Draupadi, you give me a little prasadam. So he looked at all the pots, there was nothing in the pots. So Krishna said, is there anything there? And there was one little leaf, spinach leaf, and he ate that. And because he ate that, and he's another name for Krishna is Yogeshwar, master of all mystic power. So when he ate that one leaf, the Durvasa Muni and his men felt completely full, and as if they had eaten a feast already. So they were embarrassed to come back and take prasadam, so they just went away, and Krishna saved the Pandavas again. There's many more instances. There was a demon killed by Bhima. So many times, so many things were happening to the Pandavas. But Queen Kunti prayed that let these calamities happen again and again, because when there's calamities, when someone is comfortable and happy, then he doesn't think of Krishna. But when he's in a stressful condition, then he thinks of Krishna for help. So she's praying, let these calamities happen again and again, so we can see you and think of you again and again. So here it's talking about Draupadi being disrobed. Draupadi, at her Swayamvara ceremony, which you can select, the bridegroom can select her own husband. There was a fish hanging on a tree, and anyone who could hit that fish with an arrow would get the hand of Draupadi. So many princes tried to hit the fish. Most of them couldn't even string the bow. But they knew Karna was equal to Arjuna, but since Karna was considered the son of a Sudra, he was disqualified. And some of the archers could string the bow, some even hit the fish, but they hit the fish in the wrong place. But Arjuna strung the bow and hit the fish right in the eye, in the bullseye. So he got the hand of Draupadi. So he went back to his mother and said, "Mother, I've won the prize." His mother was in another room. She said, "Well then, you should share it with your brothers." So he did. So the 5 Pandavas married Draupadi. They were all the queen, all one wife and 5 husbands. But they had an arrangement where if one husband was with Draupadi, then the other husbands wouldn't disturb them. So I was like that. Sometimes it's like that. Like Pachetas had 10. There was 10 Pachetas. They married the daughter of the sun god. So at the gambling match, the Pandavas were challenged to a gambling match by the Kurus, and they got cheated. First they got one gambling match, they got cheated and taken away, everything was taken away. Then they decided to have a second gambling match. And this time they got cheated again, they lost everything, and they even lost Draupadi, their wife. So Duryodhana and the others decided they would bring Draupadi in the assembly and disrobe her. Which here it says this is a heinous act, or abominable act, unlawful act, or defiling act. So they brought Draupadi in the assembly, and no one protested. The Pandavas lost everything, they couldn't do anything, and only Vidura was the only one that protested. And Bhima and Drona didn't protest because they were being maintained by the Kurus and were worried about their maintenance. So because of this, it says here that they were meant to suffer a sinful action. They had to be killed on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, etc. Of course, disturbing a lady, that was 5,000 years ago, and it was considered an unlawful act. But nowadays, in Kali Yuga, it's become fashionable for women to take off their clothes in public. Srimad Bhagavatam says, Prayena Pisa Klavadmi Gajanaha Mandasamanda Matayo Mandam Bhagya Hi Upadrutaha. The learned one, this iron age of Kali, men have but short lives. They are quarrelsome, lazy, misguided, unlucky, and above all, always disturbed. That's in the first canto. And the 12th canto says that religion, truthfulness, cleanliness, tolerance, mercy, duration of life, physical strength, and memory will all diminish day by day because of the powerful influence of Kali Yuga. So we see that in Kali Yuga, the women have become shameless, the men have become shameless. They have nightclubs all over the world where women, you can see topless, bottomless things. Prabhupada would often say that men have their wife at home and they're not satisfied, so they go to the nightclub, pay money, try to enjoy with other women. And now even the newspapers have become like a sex magazine. Times of India, they put all these pictures of women which have nothing to do with the news, just to entice people to buy the newspaper, or from who knows why, but it's become not very attractive to devotees. We don't like to see, especially brahmacharis, sannyasis, are not supposed to see the pictures of women, but it's pretty readily available. And women, especially in the summertime, most countries, it's cold part of the year, so at least in the summertime, they wear as little clothes as possible. But still, we are pushing on our Sankirtan movement, and if people are innocent, the women are innocent, and they can also, Krishna says, Striyo Vaishya Tata Sudras, that even the women, Sudras, low-class people, they can also become devotees and attain the supreme destination. So we don't discriminate, but we let the householders preach to those women, maybe, but we try to convert them. When someone becomes a devotee, then they learn how to be shy and chaste. But women in society don't get any training, and in the schools and colleges, it's all being mixed boys and girls, free mangling with boys and girls, free sex, whatever is going on. So they don't see anything wrong with it. But when they become devotees, then they get a better understanding of what the position of women. Women and men are not equal. This is a movement that was going on. When they'd ask Prabhupada, always ask Prabhupada questions about why women are not equal to men. Well, because women have one kind of body and a man has one kind of body. A woman can get pregnant and have a child. A man cannot get pregnant and have a child. Women are weaker than men, and so they need to be protected. The woman has to be protected by the by the father in her childhood. When she gets married, she's supposed to be protected by the husband. And if the husband leaves his body or leaves home, takes sannyas, then the woman should go be protected by the grown-up sons or children. This way, a woman should always be protected, so there won't be unwanted population, there won't be degradation in society. But they don't know that, so everything is topsy-turvy in Kali Yuga. And they put women's pictures on everything. I just got a voltage stabilizer with a picture of a woman on it. They put a picture of the woman on the cement bags, on every gizmo and gadget. For some reason, they think they're going to sell more if they do that. And even sometimes last couple weeks, I saw men from Delhi wearing T-shirts with swear words on them coming to the temple. So I had to tell them that this is not proper, that you should take it off or turn it inside out or whatever. And they agreed. But the man was with his wife and his children and was wearing a shirt that had swear words on it. Didn't have enough. He didn't know what either he didn't know what it meant, or he didn't care, or he just wore it anyhow. Well, when I approached him and told him that, he agreed. He didn't become angry. But this is going on. Degradation of Krishna, degradation in Kali Yuga. So Krishna's telling Arjuna not to worry, and he has retracted his universal form. So we're hearing in Srimad Bhagavatam class about Prahlad Maharaj and Ranikashipu. Sometimes a devotee is born in a demoniac family, and sometimes a demon is born in a devotee family. But in either case, when Kamsa called Akura to come and bring Krishna called Balaram to Mathura so they could kill them, Akura agreed, but he said that you should know one thing: man proposes and God disposes. So you may have so many plans, but they won't be successful unless they're sanctioned by the Lord. Here it says, the devotee would not act in this way. The Draupadi being disrobed was a heinous, unlawful act 5,000 years ago, and the devotees have all good qualities. It says when someone takes the Krishna consciousness, they receive the spiritual master, Guru Krishna Prasadi by vyapeta-bhīḥ. So the first instruction is that we should chant 16 rounds of Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And we should follow 4 regular principles: no meeting, no gambling, no intoxication, no illicit sex. And following these principles brings us to the mode of goodness. So this is how it seems like a miracle that people came to Prabhupada. They were drug addicts, women hunters, addicted to all sinful activities. Even when Samasundar was carving the deities of Jagannath, Subhadra, Baladev, the San Francisco temple, first they found some small deities in an antique shop. So our Prabhupada asked him to carve the deities, the big size, the same. So he was doing that. The Prabhupada went to see what he was doing, and he noticed that he had put a pack of cigarettes on the head of Lady Subhadra, or one of the deities. So Prabhupada told him that he didn't tell him he should stop smoking immediately. He said he should smoke one less cigarette every day until you finally stop. So he did that. So it wasn't easy to convert people of such low class to first class. Converted low class people to first class people. And they asked Srila Prabhupada why, when he came to America, one reporter asked Srila Prabhupada, why do you come to America to introduce another religion? We already have so many religions. And Prabhupada said, I've not come here to introduce a new religion. I've just come here to teach people how to love God. So this is a real religion. Religion means to teach people how to love God. And religion has to have philosophy. Religion without philosophy is just sentimental. And religion without science is also speculation. So the Krishna conscious movement, we neither are sentimental nor do we speculate about anything. If we read the Bhagavad Gita, read Prabhupada's books, then there's no room for speculation. Everything is there. When Prabhupada wrote his books and purports, he said they'd be the law books for civilization for the next 10,000 years. So especially in the Bhagavad Gita, when Prabhupada was in New York, one lady came to Prabhupada and asked him if he could recommend a Bhagavad Gita that she could read. And Prabhupada said, "Sir, I can't, because other editions of Bhagavad Gita were interpreted by men who were influenced by the modes of material nature, and they gave their interpretation according to their material contaminated senses." Even Prabhupada, when Brahmananda was reading the Bhagavad Gita, when he met Prabhupada, so Prabhupada asked Brahmananda to read a couple pages of his Bhagavad Gita. So Brahmananda did that. Then Prabhupada said, "Close the book and tell me what you read." And Brahmananda couldn't say anything. He didn't understand the one word. So that's the way most Bhagavad Gita. You go in a bookstore, you'll see there's 30 different editions of Bhagavad Gita. But only Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita, as it is written by Prabhupada, who had no selfless motivation, was free from all. He only wanted to give pure bhakti, anyabhilasita sunya, jnana karma navitam, anukuleta Krishna no bhakti uttamam. This is definition by Rupa Goswami of pure devotional service. So it has to be free from jnana and free from karma. Otherwise, one cannot attain bhakti or pure devotional service. So Arjuna saw the universal form, and that universal form that was shown to Arjuna was never seen before. We know that other universal forms were shown to Mother Yasoda, to Duryodhana, and there's universal forms described in the Srimad Bhagavatam. But this universal form was complete. The other universal forms were, at least the one he showed that Duryodhana and Mother Yasoda were not the complete universal form. But it was not a very pleasing form. It's not a worshipable form, because you can't love the universal form. You can't offer artik to the universal form. You can't dress the universal form. You can't put chandan on the universal form, because it's not a lovable form. It's not like the deity. So Arjuna wasn't happy to see the universal form, so he requested Krishna to show his two-armed form, then to show Krishna showed him his four-armed form, then he showed him his two-armed form. So in Vaikuntha, Krishna has four-armed form, as Mahavishnu. But in Golok, Krishna has two-armed form. So when the gopis were dancing with Krishna, Krishna disappeared for something, because he thought the gopis had become proud. So they were searching all over to find Krishna, and they came upon Mahavishnu, or Narayan, with four-armed form, and they simply offered obeisances to him and said, "Can you tell us where we can find Krishna?" So they weren't attracted to that form. So Krishna's told Bhagavan Swayam. So we should understand that everything emanates from Krishna. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Nandayada Govindam Sarvakara Karanam. So everything, Mahavishnu has 4 arms, Krishna has 2 arms, but they'll try to reason, the speculators say, because we have 2 arms and Krishna has 2 arms, and Krishna must come from Vishnu. But it's not that way, it's the other way around. That all the expansions, Krishna is the first Purusha, first expansion. From Krishna comes Shankarshan, Lord Balaram, then the Chaturvyuha, then the Mahavishnu, second Chaturvyuha, then all the other Purusha avatars. So everything's emanating from Krishna. Krishna's true Bhagavan Swayam. So there's no room for argument, because the Srimad Bhagavatam confirms this, Chaitanya Charitamrita confirms this. And also, when Lord Chaitanya came 500 years ago, he was the Yuga avatar, Krishna Varnam Trishak Krishnam Sangam Pangam Prasanam Yagnir Sankirtan Prayer Yantihi Sumeda Shaha. Of course, Lord Chaitanya came 500 years ago. He was not black, he was yellow. So he was yellow on the outside, but black in the inside, because he was Krishna, also Krishna. But it says in Bhagavad Gita that another name for Krishna is Tri Yuga. He only comes in 3 yugas. But actually, he comes in 4 yugas, but in the other 3 yugas, he's white, red, and black, and in Kali Yuga he's yellow. But Lord Chaitanya came as Bhakti avatar. They came in the disguise as a devotee to teach bhakti, to teach pure devotional service. So he didn't assert himself as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And whenever people would address him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he would block his ears and say, no, I'm not God. He taught the principle of Chinta Veda Veda Tattva. So we're simultaneously one and different. Of course, at other times, he was Nimai Pandit. He played the role of a scholar, a proud scholar, and defeated so many other scholars. But then he went to Gaya, and he met his guru, Ishvara Puri, and from that point on, he changed his role. And he started the Sankirtan movement, and he started to show his different forms to his different devotees, so the devotees could understand that he was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Most people could not understand that, but he played the role of Bhakti avatar. But still, everyone was attracted to Lord Chaitanya because he had it's called Shiramani, was the crest jewel of sannyasis, and it was very, very beautiful and attractive. Everyone was attracted to him. Even the Muslims and non-devotees were attracted to him. In this way, the Lord is so kind to his devotees that he comes, and he comes in the form of the deity, comes in the form of Tulsi, he comes in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam, and he comes in the form of Ganges. So the devotee can attain loving service to the Lord. Of course, we're practicing Vaidhi Bhakti. We have to follow the rules and regulations, and just striving for that time when we can actually have a loving relationship with Krishna. And that is a gradual process. Lord Kapila Dev told Mother Devaki that you have to hear for a very long time. And the Chaitodharpana Marjan, by chanting the holy name, the heart is cleansed of all the dirty things. But also, that is a gradual process. Especially those who were born in the Western countries, we have a heart which is like coal. So when you try to clean coal, it doesn't get clean. It's just more and more black. So it's a difficult job to clean the heart, to make the heart soft, Krishna cannot sit in your heart if your heart is still contaminated by the modes of passion and ignorance, even the mode of goodness. Because these modes of material nature, are binding the living entity in the material world. So to get free from this bondage, so Krishna is there. Krishna is He wants us to love Him more than we want to love Him. But He's waiting to see how much we're willing to let go of material contamination, material desires. It says that Krishna easily awards liberation in the different Vishnu forms of our liberation, which means going to the Brahmayoti or going to Vaikuntha and attain 5 kinds of liberation. But devotees are not interested in those things because it cripples their devotional service, cripples their bhakti to Krishna. So these are considered witches, mukti, 2 witches, which are keeping the living entity bound up in the material world. So Krishna doesn't award pure devotional service very easily. It's rarely achieved. Bhavanam jamanam gyadavamam prabhajante samahamas durlabha. It says, after many, many births, Jnani, the one who's in knowledge, attains Vasudeva Savamiti Samahama Sadurlabha. Such a great soul is very rare. He attained his consciousness, Vasudeva, or Narayan Parayana, is into consciousness of Krishna conscious, to be conscious that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that love of Godhead, prema pramartha mohan, love of Godhead is the ultimate goal of all our activities. So if we're still hanging on to material desires, but we want to become Krishna conscious, it's like trying to cross a river by putting our feet in 2 boats at the same time. You don't get very far. 1 foot in one boat, 1 foot in another boat, and try to cross the river. You won't get very far. So you have to give up the material contamination. We have to surrender. And 6 symptoms of surrender: accept everything favorable, reject everything unfavorable. To know that Krishna is always protecting us, Krishna is bestowing His mercy on us, and feel oneself meek and humble. And we actually have no interest but the interest of the Lord. And this was shown by Prabhupad Maharaj, even though he was only a 5-year-old boy, and also Dhruva Maharaj and Narada Muni, they didn't have any interest but the interest of the Lord. Uddhava, same thing. Even though they were children, Prabhupad Maharaj, Dhruva Maharaj, they weren't interested in playing. They weren't interested in any nonsense. They were only interested in Krishna and being Krishna conscious. Even though the teachers of Dhruva Maharaj, Prabhupad Maharaj, tried to teach him about politics and diplomacy, but he didn't like that, wasn't interested to hear such things. He's only interested in pure devotional service. And because he was such a great devotee and had gotten that opportunity to have the darshan of the Lord and always think of Krishna, he was also able to influence all his playmates, who were also 5 years old, and hadn't been contaminated yet by the demoniac association, and also convert them all into Vaishnavism. So this is what is wanted, that we should try to attain loving devotional service to Krishna, free from jnana, free from karma. Aitakiya pratyatha says, devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted. So we still, Kanistha Bhaktas, they have material motivations. For the Kanistha Bhakta is the neophyte devotee. So Kanistha Bhaktas, they don't know how to treat the other devotees. They can't appreciate that the super soul is in everyone's heart. They worship the deity. Kanistha Bhaktas can worship the deities, but they don't know how to treat other devotees, and sometimes they argue with each other, fight with each other, and commit offenses. This is Kanistha Bhakta, the low level, but for the neophyte level. So we have to come to a higher level, the Madhyamadhikari, second class devotee. He has love for the Lord, makes friends with the devotees, preaches to the innocent, and avoids the atheists, people who are not interested in Krishna consciousness. So the Madhyamadhikari, he goes all over the world preaching Krishna consciousness and trying to make people Krishna conscious. Uttamadhikari, first class devotee, he sees everyone as serving Krishna except for himself, and he sees everything in relation to Krishna. So he can't really preach. So the Uttamadhikari has to come down to the level of Madhyamadhikari so he can preach, because Madhyamadhikari has to discriminate between the people who are innocent and want to hear about Krishna and people who are atheists and demoniac and don't want to hear about Krishna, because it depends the holy name to preach to faithless people. So the discrimination must be there. Of course, the Uttamadhikari is always an Uttamadhikari, and he's Nityasila, he's eternally liberated soul. He can't fall in the Maya at any time. And Prabhupada wrote a letter to one of his godbrothers when he was in America and said, I cannot fall into Maya. But if Prabhupada went to America alone, he didn't have any association. No one in America knew anything about Krishna or Krishna consciousness. So Prabhupada had to take the risk to go there. But still, he was always confident that by following the orders of the spiritual master was always with him. And also, he was, when one stays in Vrindavan or goes out of Vrindavan, if you're always thinking of Vrindavan, Prabhupada was always thinking of Vrindavan, no matter where he was. And when Prabhupada met his Guru Maharaj, his friend asked him what he thought about Bhaktisiddhanta, and he said he's a Vaikuntha man. So Prabhupada was also a Vaikuntha man. He can travel all over the world, not be influenced by the material energy, and always remain Krishna conscious and give Krishna consciousness to those people who are ready to accept it. And those of us who are fortunate enough, by some great fortune, got to see Prabhupada and take initiation with Prabhupada and take to Krishna consciousness. In this way, Prabhupada established so many temples, and he installed the deity. And the deity form of the Lord, the Archa Vigraha, is there because we can't see a spiritual. Premanjana Trita Bhakta Vilochanena. We don't have the eyes tinged with the salve of love. So the deity is there, and the deity reciprocates with the devotee. Anyone who thinks the deity is made of stone or wood, or the spiritual master is an ordinary living being, his path to hell is open. So we should never think that the deity is a statue, or like the Muslims say, you can't. The deities are Naraka, or God is formless. So the Muslims were, especially Aurangzeb, came to Vrindavan all over UP, breaking the deities in the temple, because he said God can't have a form. But we don't agree. God has a form, and we also have a form. And God, people say God is everywhere, but He's not in the temple. But we don't. If He's everywhere, then why He can't be in the temple? So Prabhupada installed the deity, and at the time of Pran-pratishtha, Krishna is called to enter the deity. And according to our devotion, our worship, the deity reveals Himself to different devotees. It's like Radha Pandit was only 48 years old when Lord Chaitanya left the planet. But he had arthritis, and he couldn't dress the deities anymore. He couldn't move his arms, he couldn't put the garland on the deities. So the deity of Tota Gopinath sat down just to take the service of his devotee. He's the only deity in the world that's sitting down. In this way, there's many stories how the deity reciprocates. With Madhavendra Puri found the Gopal deity, and install them on Govardhan Hill, and went through so much trouble to bring chandan to cool the body of the deity. So in this way, the deity is there to accept our loving service. So it says when you go to a temple for the first time, when you visit a temple, you should bring something. If you're a poor man, you can bring patram puspam palotoyam, yome bhakta pjatati. If you're a poor man, you bring something according to your means. If a rich man comes, he also should give something according to your means. Flour, fruit, water, whatever we have, we should offer something to the deity. In Bhagavad-gītā, Krishna Karnamrita says, Krishna has a very beautiful form, and all Krishna's body is like a lotus flower. There's lotus hands, lotus feet, lotus navel, everything. But the most pleasing form, attraction of Krishna's form is a sweet and gentle smile. So we see that if we see Gaura Nitai and Balaram, Krishna Balaram and Radhashama Sundar, we can appreciate that they also have sweet, gentle smile. And that is also attracting us and attracting so many people from all over the world. People come here from 10,000 miles away to take darshan of the deities here, but the people sitting across the street don't even come in the temple. I went to one man in his shop and I said, today's Janmashtami, temple will be open until midnight. And he said, very good, I can leave my shop open 2 more hours. So instead of coming to the temple and taking darshan, they'd rather sit across the street and try to make a few rupees to maintain their families. So in this way, we should appreciate that Prabhupada was so so intent on spreading Krishna consciousness, opening so many temples. And the temple is like Vaikuntha. Temple means no anxiety. Vai means without, and Kunta means anxiety. The temple is a different atmosphere where people come to the temple, they have some bhakti, they have some rati from previous lives, some pious credits. They can understand the temple is different, and they get some appreciation for spiritual life. And gradually they may take the spiritual life. And they'll admit that when they come to the temple, they feel peaceful and happy. But when they leave the temple, and they have to get back into all their worries and problems in the material world, they forget about spiritual life. So it's very difficult. Once one's stable in grihastha life especially, he has to work so hard to make money, to pay the bills, to keep the family satisfied, to do so many things. A distraction, Prabhupada said, for a grihastha to make spiritual advancement was very slow or next to nil. So people, the brahmacharis think that getting married is a better position than staying brahmachari. But when they get married and they see they made a mistake, they wish they were brahmacharis again, because the grass always looked greener on the other side. So they see grihasthas and thinking they're enjoying independence and living very nicely, comfortably. They think that that's going to make them happy. But when they do that, then they regret it most of the time. Unless they're very Krishna conscious and their wife is Krishna conscious, and they make Krishna the center of their life, then it's very difficult for the man and wife to become Krishna conscious. So this is what Arjuna wishes to see, the loving form of Krishna, two-armed form, which is there in Vrindavan, and the gopis also are always eager to see that form of Krishna. They don't have any tinge of material desire. Their love for Krishna may be lusty. They may be lusty for Krishna, but that lust has nothing to do with material world or material sex life. It's like the difference between day and night, or iron and gold. This is described by Krishna's Kaviraj in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, and so we should never consider this Krishna's activities to be mundane or material. And there are, Prabhupada gives us a warning about prīta-sahajiyas, people who take Krishna's activities cheaply and try to imitate Krishna. This is a great offense. Those kind of people are not making advancement in spiritual life by trying to imitate Krishna. We are Jivara Surabhoy, Nitya Krishna Das, eternal servants of Krishna. Gopi Parva Kamala, Das Das Anudas. We're servant of servant of the gopis of Krishna. But this is our position. Das Das Anudas. So he's maintained a humble position. Understand what was the servants of Krishna, that we can't be Krishna, that we can't imitate Krishna, but we can love Krishna, and that will come when we're free from the contamination of the three modes of material nature. When the nartha nivritti, after an nartha nivritti stage, then we can begin our devotional service. Brahma bhuta prasanama nasosati nakanchati samasarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim lavate param. When you come to the Brahma bhuta platform, no more lamenting, no more hankering, always joyful. That's when spiritual life actually begins. That's when devotional service begins, when we're in the mode of Shuddha-sattva, pure goodness. So time is finished. Anybody have any questions or comments? If the microphone works, I don't know. Does the microphone work? Mr. Santa Claus has a question.
How did Srila Prabhupada deal with the women's liberation movement, which was very strong in the 1960s?
You want to know how Prabhupada deals with it? Well, he's explained that women and men are not equal, but they're on the material platform. But women and men we're all spirit soul, and the spiritual platform, we are equal. So Krishna says that whether Striya Vaishya Tata Sudra, whether you're Sudra, low-born woman, or outcast, whatever position you may be in, you still can attain the supreme destination. So from a material point of view, women and men are not equal, but from a spiritual point of view, women and men are equal, can all attain Krishna consciousness. So this is Prabhupada said, we're not male chauvinists, we're not just trying to torture women or be superior to women, but women have their place, and men and women, there's no free mingling with men and women in our movement. So that is there. So Prabhupada explained it that way, that it's not that women cannot, there have been many great Vaishnava women in our history of Vaishnavism. So women also can become Krishna conscious. So that Prabhupada tried to discriminate in that way, or explain it that way, that spiritually women are equal to men. Anybody else have any question, comment? So Prabhupada met one lady reporter. She was wearing a mini skirt, and she said to Prabhupada, "Why do you people shave your head?" And Prabhupada said, "It's better to have a cool head than cold legs." Srila Prabhupada ki, Untitled Bhagavad Gita ki.